Yo, Sarchie for back with another video. Now today's video we got a story time. It's been like a month since I did one, but the last one I did ended up on I'm Just Bait. So we left it on a high note. Without any further ado, this is a story where if you've been on this channel since legit Sarchie days, like I'm talking like 5 years ago when I was in like year 7 doing up YouTube, and I used to get bullied for it in school. That's why I stopped. And now if you go to the current first video, I explained that whole situation there. But point is, back in the day when I did YouTube in like year 7, it was eventful. It was eventful, and no one's clocked. But if you go to the about section on my channel, pretty certain it says something about it's one of like when you go to like that part of the channel where you can go community, playlist, blah blah. At one bit it says graphics HD. Now that was like my attempt to replicate the Sadman like 5 years ago with like my friends that did YouTube at the time. And one day we all met up. At Power League for a day out. To do a crossbar challenge video, just like the Sadman. And whilst we were there, it was okay, you know, like shout out Joe Pinnock, shout out Joe, but it was alright. The video actually ended up doing alright, like it turned out okay. Then after Dan went home, shout out Dan as well, but after he went home, his mum picked him up. We were on like the smaller pitches. They were like, you know, why don't we just go to a big pitch and just enjoy our football? So we were like, okay, yeah, cool. So we went over to the big pitch, and there were these teenagers, like obviously we were like 12, 13 at the time. We weren't actually all teenagers at the time, yeah. So there were these teenagers. Well, when I say teenagers, I mean like my current age now. So like 17, 18, 19, that kind of age. And they were there. They were just giving the most verbal. They're like, oh, come back when your balls have dropped. And I was like... honestly, at that time, I actually had no idea what he meant. Like, that's how young we were. I actually didn't understand what he was trying to say. I just knew he was trying to be rude. So he said that. I remember some light-skinned guy. There were bare of them. Like, I remember there were like at least 20 of them. Like, there was so many of them like on this big pitch. They were the other side, and we tried to play. I don't know why, but we tried to play penalty king. And whenever the ball ended up on their side, they just booted it away. Like, you know, when the year 11s kicked the year 7's ball away, they were doing that at Power League. Like, you had no right to do that. They were booting it out of the whole cage. Yeah. So we were getting bullied that day, I can't lie. But you know, we stood our ground. That's one thing about me. Like, I don't care whether you're older. I always stand my ground. We actually didn't leave. Like, we just firmed it and we stayed. So then we came into a compromise. They stayed on that side. We stayed on this side. Then, so it was us lot and then them lot. Then, another group of people, like around our age, yeah. This is what, like year 7, year 8. Around our age, but just a little bit older. Maybe like year 9 at the time. Pulled up and tried to come on our side. I was like, yo, what are you doing? I remember one guy was wearing Obey. I don't know who remembers Obey. It was like the new Dench at the time. So moist. So moist. But this guy was wearing Obey. I was mocking him. I was like, fam, shut up. You're wearing an Obey hat. Like, you can't chat to me. Look at your hat. Anyway, so that happened. He was giving verbal. I was giving verbal back. That went on for like 10 minutes. Then, the bit where I almost got beat up. So... and this is what I mean. This is why I haven't done too many stories recently, because they're not that long. Like, they might be entertaining, but they're not too long. So I might as well keep it short. I don't want to waffle too much, but the bit where I always got beat up. So eventually we got tired of being on the big pitch. I don't know if we got told to move by someone who worked at Power League, but we got told to leave the big pitch. Then what happened? So we went on to one of the smaller pitches that was next to it. I haven't even been to this Power League for like 3 years now. It's been a long time. But from what I remember, there's 2 big pitches and then there's a couple, I don't know how many, about maybe 7 smaller pitches around those 2. So we went to the small pitch that was back to back with the big pitch we were on. When we get there, there's another group of people there. And at the time, it was like a Saturday around 3, 4-ish. Like, it was probably peak hours for Power League here. And there's another group of people on this smaller pitch. And we were like, fam, we didn't say fam, I didn't even say fam back then, but we were like, yo, like, can you play here, please? In our little year 12, not year 12, I am year 12, in our 12-year-old voices, we're like, oh, can we play on your pitch? They're like, giving us those eyes. Then, this is what I mean about I don't back down, I always stand my ground. Even at times where I probably shouldn't. This was probably one of those times I probably should have just known my place and firmed it and just carried on with my day, but I was too mouthy. I still am too mouthy. I went up to this guy. He was telling us to like F off and that. I was like, fam, suck your dead nan. Now, that's standard. Like, if you're English, it's suck your mum, suck your nan. That's standard. Like, it's not really that much of a verb. Like, it's rude, but it's not that deep. Like, you hear it all the time. Well, for this guy, he reacted a little bit different. And this is where I shouldn't even be laughing. This is where the story takes a bit of a turn. So I said suck your dead nan, like your grandma, yeah, your mother or your dad, their mother, yeah. What he thought I said was suck your dead dad, and his dad was actually dead. Now, I had no way of knowing this. I don't know the guy to this day. I still don't know the guy, but he flipped. He flipped. He was like, what did you just say? Literally no verbal after that. He just chased me, like straight chased me. This is what I'm saying, like, if I was slow, the amount of times I would have been beaten up right now, like, I'm blessed that God gave me pace. Because if I was not quick, fam, if I wasn't quick, I can name at least 2 times I would have died by now, but this is one of those times. This guy chased me around the whole... I remember he had a Man City top. Chased me around the whole of Power League. I remember... I don't know how Joe was keeping up, but Joe somehow kept up. We hid in the toilets. And I remember we were just there for like 10 minutes. Like, yo... Like, making sure the coast was clear. We eventually left. We're like, fam, is the coast clear? It's clear. So we left the toilet and we went into the car park. We just sat there. And I remember, like, this bit was on video. I remember Joe recorded this. And at the time, we were, like, so out of breath. And we were like, yo... We're hiding in the car park. And our parents had to come like an hour later, like half an hour later. I don't know how long it was, but it felt like ages. You know, people are like, oh, it felt like forever. This actually felt like forever because the guy, where we were, we could see, like at Power League, you can see when people are walking around the pitches. And the guy was there. Like, we saw this guy walking and he was walking. Somehow we just didn't clock that it was us in the car park. But that's the story of how I almost got beat up at Power League. Yeah, it's mad, I can't lie. I get too mouthy sometimes. That was one of the times I really should have just shut my mouth, I can't lie. Anyway, yeah, people have been asking for story times to come back. It's back. I'll do one every now and then when I can, but I'm going back to school in a bit as well, so I have to take that into account. Videos as well, probably going to slow down on the whole, because now I'm going into year 13. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I've been Sarchie14. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Hope you enjoyed that one. I'll be back again. Shoot.